We have come in the world of prana or shrishti, creation. So be ready for the bumpy ride. We have outlined before that prana is the portion of the Brahman that likes turbulence, movement, dynamicity, vibrance, fluctuations. So this is the portion of the Brahman that wants to create the creative dance of creation, followed by destroying everything that has been created. Prana operates through Prakriti. Prakriti operates through gunas. So, in the realm of the prana is the Prakriti and the gunas. And the gunas, sattva, rajas and tamas, will infiltrate whatever chitta comes and takes incarnations or biological life by submerging itself into the elements of prana. So the gunas are the ones that create the mahabhuts and the perception of the mahabhuts or the indriyas. And from there, it will take a U-turn and start experiencing what it created. What is experiencing that is created? The chitta is experiencing that which is created as in modes of Prakriti, Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. So see, chitta is experiencing prana, but never does the chitta become the prana. The delusion of feeling that I am the prana by coming and playing with chitta, this false identification itself is a portion of the upper Prakriti, Mano Buddhirevcha. So the man, buddhi, ahamkara, all three form the upper Prakriti, whereas the bhumi, rapo, nalo, vayu, kham, fire, earth, air, water, ether, create the lower Prakriti. The experience of the lower Prakriti, or what has been created, is established by Mano Buddhir Ahankar. But since all of them are portions of the Prakriti, they have evolved from the prana. Hence, none of those elements could be us. Hence, we could not be the Panch Mahabhut that formed our body. We could not be the prana that gels the Panch Mahabhut with the subtle forces within us or the subtle body of Manomaya Sharir. We could not be the Gyan which tells us the difference between what is right and wrong by implementing it using the microprocessor of delineating intellect or buddhi. So what is left is the experience of the Prakriti, experience of the web in which the spider is crawling. But the spider is not the web. It is the place where it is living for now. So, as I have said before, if prana is dynamic, fluctuating, vibrating, creating temporary tops and then double bottoms, this is very much the phenomenon of cyclicity. There is cyclical behavior, circle structure to the prana. It goes around and comes back where it started. Full circle, back to square one. Now, chitta is an experience. So, chitta is more like a dot, the center point around which the prana is evolving and revolving. So, you have to understand the direction in which the prana will revolve and the magnitude with which it will go back and forth in that direction is created by cycles. And there's two cycles in which all of us move. The smaller cycles, which are creating, aberrations or minor fluctuations in the circle that is being created, and the larger, longer duration circles, which are not perturbed by the daily durations of the circles in large, but they have their own amplitude and rhythm. So the smaller circles are what we engage using the modes of prana, again, modes of prana are prakriti and gunas, into day-to-day activities. So things like what you eat, how you breathe, how much you drink water, how do you interact with the people around you, how do you create emotions when you interact with these peoples. Either are you creating at the level of lust, anger, and greed at the lower three chakras, or compassion, courage, and finally intuition at the higher three chakras. So it's the daily interaction of the Mahabhut holder with the Mahabhuts using the perception of Mahabhut experience or Indriya. That is your smaller cycle. Now, Rome was not built in a day. Similarly, character and the long-term cycles are not created out of thin air. They are created from the inspiration or accretion of this activity that we are engaging in on a day-to-day activity. So all these interactions, the way you eat, drink, make love, interact with individuals around you, create something called karma, which is the activities in the realms of thought, speech, and bodily action. This will go and lodge in your logbook in the ethereal realm called karma bandhan. And this will be bounced back to you in the way you have interacted with the Mahabhuts. The second portion of the long-term cycle is created by Bhagavad Kripa, or the divine intervention. The sankalp, intention, and the shraddha, faith that you keep in a higher being tells us that you have surrendered your upper prakriti, mano, buddhi, ahankar, into a realm that is higher than the realm that understands what it is. So, or understands what it is not, to be more specifically. It understands that if I am associating with mind, buddhi, intellect, and ahamkara, ego, I am none of the three. So it is something more subtle and to the core than what can be experienced by the upper elements. So by that definition, it becomes chitta, or awareness. See, there's a little subtle difference between existence and awareness. Existence is being in the state of as it is, passive. And awareness revs it up a notch at the state of understanding who you are or where you are and that things are around. So it's a higher level of existence, if you will. Existence is more passive, awareness is more active. When you do yoga, you convert your existence into awareness, because the small term cycles of existence, when they are revved up and when they are disciplined and structured, are creating a better, smoother, long-term cycle. So small term cycle, the way you eat with awareness, with compassion, and with surrender of the food to the God before you eat it, tells you that you're trying to enjoy the Mahabhut. Hey, Chitta, so be more grateful. Since Chitta cannot create anything, it can only enjoy the things which have been created by the prana. What should be the mode of the Chitta which is enjoying something that has been gifted to it? We have been gifted this free water, this food that comes out of the soil, food grains, this beautiful air that we breathe. We are taking for free, or renting, if you will, the Mahabhuts to enjoy life. Hence, there has to be humility, grace, and compassion in what we are doing and what we are utilizing. So the long-term cycle is created by the karma bandhan based on the way we interact with the Mahabhuts using the perceptor of the Mahabhut, Indriya, and therefore creating these other states of desire, if you will, or the 7 states of Manomaya that we have talked about. And that itself creates the activities that we engage in using the Mahabhuts to enjoy the Mahabhuts, becoming karma bandhan. Now, there is another element that can influence your karma bandhan if you utilize it the right way, and that is one of divine intervention or Bhagavad Kripa. Mat prasadat tarishyati. If you have my prasad, you can overcome this samsara ocean. You will not drown in the samsara ocean. So, Maya metam tarantite. Come to me and I will be able to get you off this world of samsara in my boat. So, the long-term cycle, which is created of karma bandhan and divine intervention, or divine intervention can be Bhagavad Kripa, has to be is something that people don't talk much about. But this is also going to help you decide the kind of karma bandhans you get. Why? Because karma bandhan is composed of Sanchit, Prarabdha and Agami. Sanchit is what has been already reposited in your quiver. It's like the arrows in your tarkash or quiver. And Prarabdha is what has been loaded on the bow and has been already shot at you. It's only a matter of time you will face it. And the third is Agami, what you are going to engage in. So, the Ananya Cheta, Ananya Bhakti, or uninterrupted, exclusive devotion to God, which creates Bhagavad Kripa, or divine grace, is going to alter your Sanchit karma by breaking all the arrows that are in the quiver and then burning the quiver box so you cannot collect any more karmas coming and getting deposited as the Agami. So it burns off your Sanchit deposited karma and it prevents the formation of new karma or the Agami karma because you are operating in the mold of Nishkam karma. So, my friends, the only thing that is left is Prarabdha, which has already been shot off the bow in your direction. प्रारब्ध को कोई नहीं रोक सकता और प्रारब्ध को रोकना भी नहीं चाहिए. That's why you will hear all these beautiful stories. One story of Lahiri Mahashaya when he was walking with a disciple in the Himalayas and suddenly he shouts to his disciple, kapda bandh, tie a cloth around. And then a big boulder comes and hits his great toe and he starts bleeding. And the disciple then understands that Lahiri Mahashaya understood that a boulder or a rock was going to fall on his toe and make him bleed. And that's why he was saying, tear apart the cloth and put it around my toe. And the disciple asks, why did you not stop it? If you knew this was going to happen, why did not you change your course? The problem is, Prarabdha has something that has already shot because of the activities you have engaged in your past life. So don't be hard on yourself. Don't feel guilty, resentful, or don't feel inferior to anybody because that feeling was attributed to Prarabdha, which was already shot in your direction. You should not change it. You are being disrespectful to Prakriti if Prakriti gave you the power and you misused it. So that is why I'm not in favor of knowing your past lives. I'm not in favor of knowing your future. Prarabdha ko ho jane do. So my friends, Bhagavad Kripa, when Lahiri Mahashaya will not have any more Sanchit karma, Lahiri Mahashaya will not have any more Agami karma. But whatever was left in the Prarabdha from the past lives, good thing. He faced the sufferings and it's done. So that's why when you have suffering, you have to be happy that okay, ye Prarabdha to kat gaya. There is nothing more or one thing less left in the Prarabdha bow that has been loaded. And Sanchit I am going to burn, Agami I am not going to create. Because I am involved in yoga, the bhakti yoga of selfless surrender to the higher being, the devotional intelligence of God, or the Nishkam Karma Yoga in which I don't create any more hankering, the lower states of desire or manomai, the so-called expectations, emotions, thoughts and cravings. So that way, I'm only going to create very distilled karmas, and sometimes I won't even create any karmas. So that is why Bhagavad Kripa helps. The divine cosmic intelligence helps and bestows upon you if you work in the realm of Bhakti Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Karma Yoga, and Dhyan Yoga. Gyan Yoga is Gyan is wisdom, right? The fourth sharir that is created out of these yogas. Because these yogas in general are representing the gunas. The Bhakti Yoga of Kapha dosha in Tamas, the Nishkam Karma Yoga of Rajoguna in Pitta, and the Dhyan Yoga in the Sattva of Vata. So that is why the doshas which are cropping from the gunas are the ultimate expression of the Mahabhut. But doshas are defects because you are trying to be what you are not. So there will be some element of imperfection lodged in you. And that is why when the Mahabhut takes an active life, it becomes a dosha. When you take a biological life, your Mahabhuts have distilled inside you as dosha. When the Mahabhuts were existing in the Prakriti realm, as in prana, they were Mahabhuts. So you have to understand that the Mahabhuts are free of impurities or imperfections, but when the Chitta wants to enjoy the Mahabhut, it combines them in various proportions. It combines the air and the ether as Vat, the water and the fire as Pit, the earth and the water as Kaph. So it is trying to experience something which it is not, and price you pay for that is the dosha. When you want to play and enjoy and get desires, the price you pay is the karma. So to enjoy the Mahabhut selflessly, to operate in the realm of Nishkam or in the realm of yogs, is to overcome the doshas and overcome the karmas respectively. So the longer cycles which are created by the kind of activities we create, hopefully ones that don't create more agami and are helpful to burn off the sanchit so that we only face prarabdha, are going to determine our long-term trajectory along with the Bhagavad Kripa. So there is no static force in prana. The static element is that of chitta, introspection, stability, not getting perturbed, peaceful. These are elements of chitta. Prana is vibrance. One day very happy, very emotional, very excited. Second day extremely depressed, despondent, anxious. So all this locomotion, movement, vibration, frequency, all these are elements of prana. And that is why when we are experiencing the prana, by default, we get these vibrations. And then the chitta is confused. Where is this coming from? Why am I experiencing this? Because this is not my true nature. My nature is calmness. My nature is being unperturbed, stable. So that is how nucleus is built, right? They're very stable, hardcore structures. Whereas electrons spinning around are going up and down, one orbit to another, jumping the orbits, moving all around, going all crazy all the time. So if you will distill the forces of prana to make them more stable, you will be more at peace. And then you can enjoy the happiness of introspection, which is your true nature. So you can regulate the long-term cycle created by Karma Bandhan and Bhagavad Kripa based on the activities in the short-term cycle, which is the activities in the realm of Mahabhuts in the Annamaya Sharir. So yoga is creating or helping destroy your Karma Bandhan, and yoga is going to help you increase your promoter, which is called the Bhagavad Kripa. But you have to remember that yoga is operating in the realm of Annamaya Sharir, Manomaya Sharir, Pranamaya Sharir, and to some extent Jnanamaya Sharir. But it is going to affect the outcomes in the Anandamaya Sharir or the Karana Sharir, causal body. So yoga will, the forces of prana will always try to destabilize you, demoralize you, devolve you, because they hate this guy who is so self-disciplined and structured and question the rules of prana, which is vibrancy, fluctuations, modulations. Hence, you will face temporary setbacks in your path of yoga. Some days you will feel, oh my God, I know the universe. I am the real guru. I am the enlightened one. I am the Buddha. And other days you'll feel like, oh my God, I am such a lousy person. I am such an unevolved person. I am such an individual who doesn't even have, not even a person worth living. So the prana will make you drive crazy. It will use every single toy, or I should say the tool it has in its toolbox. It will throw the kitchen sink at you to see something that will destabilize you, demoralize you, devolve you. So you keep circling like crazy, like electrons around a nucleus, and never find peace. Well, you are the nucleus, so you are entitled to the peace. You are entitled to ordinary behavior. You are entitled to being in the state of stability and bliss. So you will make some setbacks as you progress in the path of yoga, because this is the world of prana. We are living in the rules of the prana. The rules of the prana are fluctuations. But whether the fluctuations you will have all the time, whether they are in the longer term cycles leading to an uptrend in which you are evolving into higher beings and going to the higher lokas and eventually stop forming any incarnations, or whether you are devolving to the downtrend, going in a lower trajectory, which is getting you more and more in the devolving species. Tanam dushta kuran sansareshu naradhaman chipame jasam subhanash shurishve yonisu asurim yonyo panna muddha janmani janmani mam prape kante yant dhamam gatim. Whether you are getting sunken in the deeper and the deeper, lower and the lower yonis of the species in your future life, where it's harder to bounce back. That trajectory is going to be decided by the long-term cycle of karma and Bhagavad Kripa created by your day-to-day activities. Hence, setbacks will happen. Setbacks are not going to decide your final course. Failures are stepping stones to success. So my friends, let me summarize everything I have said. We are chitta, or existence, which are experiencing the second world of prana. We are not prana. We are the portion of Brahman that experiences everything that is around you. We are like the nucleus which is surrounded by electrons. We are not the electrons. We are the nucleus. We are existence. When you heighten your state of existence by self-introspection, by yoga, pratyahara, you are increasing your magnitude and the direction, which is again introverted, of your existence called awareness. You become a heightened being. You become Shiva of the Shiv Chitta, the most purified, high intellect in existence that can be is the Shiva, the super consciousness, if you will. Now, when your super consciousness is damaged and it is not as clear or becomes impure because of the elements of peace or introspection have been replaced by boredom, curiosity, and desire in that sequence, you have been tainted by the electromagnetic force of prana. You are no more static. You have become electromagnetic. You have been influenced by the electromagnetism of prana, and you will fall a trap in the prana. You will go in the world of the prana called Prakriti, called Mahabhut, called Guna, called Indriya, called desire or the mana, and Buddhi. So all them, you go in the world of the lower Prakriti of Mahabhut and the upper Prakriti of Man, Buddhi, Ahamkar. But you are neither of those 8 states, the 5 of the Mahabhut and the 3 of the Man, Buddhi, Ahankar. You experience them. Now, whether you are able to enlighten your experience once again to the heightened state of awareness and understand you are none of these states, that is up to you, and that is up to the intention in you. So the way you act and do things creates short-term cycles in the world of prana. The short-term cycles over time will determine the effect of the short-term cycles on the karma bandhan and bhagavad kripa, which are creating the long-term cycles. So important to be very mindful of everything we do on the short-term cycles in the terms of what we eat, how we drink water, how we breathe the air, and how we interact with individuals. All the 5 elements of pratyahara that we do, how you eat, how you drink, how you dispense activity with others, how you breathe, and how you think. These are the only 5 elements that are going, when distilled, are called pratyahara. When not distilled, they are called day-to-day activities. They will decide your karmas. They will decide your karma bandhans. Now, once you are in the world of prana, you know that there will be some setbacks when you're trying to do pratyahara of the 5 elements. And those setbacks can sometimes push you down, but you will bounce back. So the short-term cycles are created by whether you're in the state of existence or awareness. And more you are in the state of awareness, less you'll be affected by the influencing associations of the gunas, what we call gunatits. So that way you make advancements and make your short-term cycles of pratyahara more structured, so that you're not creating karma bandhans and getting more of the Bhagavad Kripa. So only thing left is for you to face the unfolding prarabdha, things that have been shot at your direction no matter what, and enjoy it. So when you're not in the realm of awareness but more in the realm of chitta, you will suffer more setbacks, you will suffer more emotions, hankerings, cravings. Remember the 7 states of Manomaya Sharir, the lower 3 most states. The craving, expectation, emotion. When you have these states, you understand that you're in the realm of setback from the prana. When you are more in the realm of, thoughts, and better even a realm of desires, and better even realms of intention and shraddha, you are making advancements. That is why you can judge the state of mind you are in by how you feel. But what you feel is none of your business. You are not that, what you feel. So setbacks will happen when you are more in the realm of existence rather than awareness. Setback will happen because we are living in the world of prana, which likes to take things up and bring them totally down to the ground. Setback are not perpetual. So setbacks are setbacks. They come and go. So the way you feel, you won't feel always. You will feel better. So that intention or shraddha is the catalyst that converts existence into awareness, that converts the chitta into Shiva, that converts the consciousness into super consciousness. So my friends, don't be affected by the short-term cycles when they're giving you setbacks, because that is the trap of prana. Be unaffected, sthit pragya, stoic, and just face them as prarabdha and keep working. If you are getting tired of doing yoga, that's fine. Believe that you are getting tired of getting yoga, because you are making progress. You are a better person today than you were 5 years ago. Even if setbacks happen every once in a while, you go ahead. If you don't feel like doing yoga, if you don't feel like doing meditation or nishkam karma or bhakti, those are the periods where prana has prevailed over the Shiva. And that's okay. It will get over as long as you understand what it is. And this is going to decide the course. As long as you are in the right direction long term, Parth nave namutra vinashta savdate nahi kalyankrit kaschid durgatim tad gachati. When you will never get destroyed when you have the shraddha or the intention. That's why grow your shraddha, grow your intention or sankalp. Sankalp and shraddha are the ways to overcome the lower states of mind, which are, hankerings, expectations and emotions. They are going to neutralize these lower 3 states, which were leading to setbacks, so that the short-term cycle is not perpetually damaged, the uptrend is not broken, and you can continue making progress in your spiritual life. Become the Shiva, the super consciousness that you were.